Hey guys, before we get started, go to foxairsoft.com. There is a link in the description and enter the free gun giveaway. You've got a chance to win a free high-end airsoft gun. Recently, I had a chance to check out the Elite Force Glock 17 that was OEM'd by VFC. It's kind of their higher end offering currently for the Glock 17 model, and it is really nice, but it is definitely a higher price point. For one magazine in the gun, it's $170 for most places. There are other less expensive options out there, such as the non-blowback and the partial blowback, and they're quite a bit less expensive. They might be better for maybe beginner players or someone with a tighter budget and wanting a Glock model. So for contrast, I wanted to check out the Elite Force partial blowback or short-stroked Glock 17. This is also a CO2 blowback pistol, but it is not a full blowback. It is a partial blowback. So the slide actually comes back just over half an inch, probably about 3/4 of an inch, instead of the full travel, which is a bit farther. It is a different operating system too. So the magazine is going to be a bit different. It is proprietary to this particular gun, but there are some kind of finicky things with it, and I'll touch on those as we go. This one, unfortunately, was a bit of a lemon, but it's still not a bad gun, and I'm going to kind of balance that a little bit. The lemon portion was the hop up for this one. I put some 3.2s through it, which right now is the heaviest ammo I have from Elite Force, and it still spins up with 0 hop. So the best range I can get out of it was about 60 feet before it really started to spin up and just go to heaven. Before we get talking about the gun too much and all the really actually neat things about it, let's talk about what it comes with. One of the best selling points for this gun, I think, is the fact that it comes with 2 magazines. They're both 14-round mags. Just in case one starts leaking, you have a spare, or you have a spare to go to on the field instead of having to pay 30, 40 bucks more for another magazine. It comes with a pretty comprehensive instruction manual. It's one thing I do like from the Elite Force guns is they do put a lot of effort into the instruction manual, so you really know pretty much everything you need to know about the gun. Lastly, it does come with an Allen key to adjust the hop up and a small tool to install your CO2. Basically, one end has a little Allen key shape, and you can easily install your CO2 canister with it. So saves you not having to get an Allen key with the gun. The Elite Force Glock 17, the partial blowback model here, retains most, if not all, the functionality of the real firearm. So you're not missing a whole lot. It does still blow back a bit, not as much as the real one or the full stroke model, but it does blow back, so it gives you a bit of a realism. It's got a really long, squishy trigger pull, and there's no obvious point where it's going to break there per se. The reset isn't too long. It's about 6 or 8 millimeters or so. And of course it does retain the trigger safety here, just like the real Glock. Although it does not work. It's there and it doesn't seem to actually do anything, which is rather funny. Mag release, it is kind of the shorter one. It's not the longer extended one like some of the newer models. And the slide catch does of course work. It does have your standard U-notch Glock sights and a little dot on the front. So nothing too different from the real firearm model. I do like the fact that they do give you a rail underneath as well. So if you want to put a light, laser, whatever is your thing on there, or just leave it blank, you can do that. The plastic on the frame is decent. It gets by. You can tell it's definitely an airsoft gun and not a real firearm. You do get a big orange tip on the front of this, which is definitely noticeable. I'm not going to take it off for this review, but keep in mind it is there. Your hop up can be adjusted from the top here, and just keep an eye on that grub screw. Make sure you don't back it out too far. It's not terribly tall at all. It's actually rather short. So if you pull it out too far, you can actually catch your slide on this and it'll stay back if you have it out too far, which I did. You can see some markings there where I did that a little bit. Getting the magazine in and out of the airsoft gun is not as, I think, clean as I wish it was. You can tell putting it in sometimes, if it's at a slight cant or angle, it won't go in nearly as easily. And when you're putting it in, there's not an obvious click. It's such a soft click that I think in play you're not going to notice it. So you kind of have to I'd give it a nice tap and make sure it's in there, nothing too crazy. When pulling it out, you can easily actually catch the edge of it on a little lip that's inside of the mag well. It's not the cleanest magazine action I've seen. It works, but you just have to be aware of some things when you're actually manipulating the magazine in and out of the gun. But I do like those when the magazine ejection button is pressed. It does spring out really nicely, so you don't actually have to rip it out of the gun. My closing thoughts on the partial blowback Elite Force Glock 17 are kind of mixed. I do like it. It is definitely a lower price point for a Glock model pistol, and it comes with 2 mags, so it's pretty hard to beat those things on paper. It does not feel as expensive as the VFC. You're definitely paying a higher price point for that gun, and a little bit less for this one with 2 mags. So you kind of got to balance out the price with the quality you're going to get. Ultimately, the old adage, you get what you pay for, I think does come into play. This is definitely still a very usable pistol on the field. I'd be happy to use it myself. I took it out for several different days over the past month or so just to see if I could break it in a little bit and see if the hop-up problem would go away. But unfortunately it did not on this particular one. But it's not a bad thing. It shoots soft enough that I really just used it for building clearing. It shoots kind of in that lower 300 range, so it's not a problem for CQB fields. It is extremely loud and very snappy and has a really solid, snappy trigger pull, given it is very long and very heavy still, which can be a good thing. It's not necessarily bad, but it scares the crap out of people on the airsoft field. Definitely inside of a building, when you go around the corner and you shoot this thing, people will jump. It's got a lot of noise to it. This particular gun, this exact one I have right here, I'd probably give a 4 out of 10 just because of the hop-up issue. If it didn't have the hop-up issue, I'd probably give it, I think, a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's a little less expensive. It doesn't feel as solid per se or high quality as, you know, a nicer $170, $200 gas pistol or the Elite Force model, but you're paying a little bit less and you're getting about what you pay for, and I think it's a pretty solid price point for the gun. 2 mags is fair. I wish the mags held a little bit more ammunition, but they are single stack, so you're kind of limited in that way. They are not double stack like other guns or other models out there, so you're limited in that way as well. But the mags aren't too expensive if you want to go get more. They're definitely less expensive than the higher end magazines, so there are options. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Prodigy from Airsoft Team Kilo 23. Again, go check out Fox Airsoft's free gun giveaway. Link in the description, and go enter that real quick. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.